As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elesmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett, and I am here as always with my co-host Andy. How are you doing this week, mate? And how are you enjoying the Olympics?
Loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's been another good week. I'm just gutted that it's over so soon. In my head, I thought, the Olympics always last the whole month of August. But it's been only like just over 2 weeks, isn't it? That's all it's going to be.
Yeah.
But no, I have really enjoyed it. It's been short but sweet.
Yeah, because it finishes on Sunday, doesn't it? The closing ceremony is Sunday night.
Yeah. It's just been a whirlwind of sport, and I've just been loving it. Just like being an armchair fan, just sitting down watching on the TV, watching the fencing or the. Oh, do you know what I've been loving is the hockey. When someone gets a penalty corner, I'm like, go on, son, go on. I know it's like India versus Argentina or something. I don't even know who's playing, but like, go on. But I saw like in the hockey, someone got absolutely, I don't know if they got caught with a stick or a ball hit them in the head or something like that, but there was blood. Ooh. So hockey, fair play to anyone that plays that sport, because it basically looks like 11 psychopaths playing 11 other psychopaths. They just let loose with this massive wooden stick. Yeah. I think you're safest if you're the goalie.
Yeah, covered in all them pads.
Yeah. But no, it's a bit of an update on the elephant head front. Oh. I've had my refund.
What? You didn't send that back?
They've accepted it.
After you've sweated in it.
Yeah, well, I thought, I can't put it in the. That is bad, isn't it? I shouldn't really have said that on the podcast. Don't buy that elephant head on Amazon, because you could risk. You could risk getting my one. It didn't smell that bad. It was a bit bad, but it wasn't that bad. I did give it a bit of TLC. Yeah, but obviously it was still. Yeah, feel a bit bad about admitting that now. But yeah, got my £8 back. I'm not making money.
Apparently, Amazon returns are all done by robots anyway, so no human actually checks it. So,
I thought you were going to say like they're heavily inspected and you could face criminal charges or something.
Well, this is the thing. I can't remember where I read it, but there was a guy who what did he buy? But anyway, he bought something and gave it all away to like people in need or something like that, and to try and make it so Amazon were paying for it as like an experiment. Yeah, went to the beach and filled the boxes and bags with sand, and then sent the boxes of sand back to Amazon. And because it weighed exactly the same as what he bought, the robots went, and accepted his return and gave him his refund.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my next. I shouldn't have bothered with the elephant head. Should have kept the elephant head. Just put some feathers from the pillow in there.
But I think he got found out in the end, and actually there was a bit of
Well, I'm not surprised because that is stealing, really.
Yeah, basically.
Well, it generally is stealing.
Yeah, but he was trying to be Robin Hood, but yeah, it didn't work out for him in the end.
Do you know what? Again, I can't. Well, I live glass houses and all that, so I can't talk. But if you're going to do something bad if you're going to do something bad in life, don't put it on the internet. Like, if you're going to try and do a massive cover up of trying to scam the Amazon return system, don't make a YouTube vlog about it.
Yeah.
Don't put it on TikTok because you're going to end up getting caught.
I think that was the whole thing, though. I think it was one of the guys, from Vice, who always do these weird, like social experiments and stuff. I think it was one of the guys from that.
Right. Yeah. So they don't mind taking getting the hits.
The whole point is they get publicity out of it.
Yeah.
So, but very true. Don't put your bad things on the internet because you're going to get caught.
It's just like, if you could, one of my favorite phrases that I live by is, if you can't be good, don't get caught. If you can't be good, like, I remember Jack Grealish during lockdown, got drunk and drove his Range Rover into a lamppost or something when we shouldn't be leaving our house. And everyone was just got their head in their hands thinking,
yeah,
you idiot. All you had to do is stay at home. And
it's mental.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
But I think there are moments when people who have got a lot of money think, well, I can get away with it, don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That their thought processes work a lot different to ours because we don't want that hassle, whereas they don't really care.
Yeah. What a funny time lockdown was. I remember thinking it, because I'm a bit of a stickler for the rules. And I remember back down in, what was it, March, April, May, June, those few months of that 2020. I remember going to my mum's, and this is how much I was taking it seriously. I remember, I think I cut her grass for her or something like that. And I was thinking, oh my God, I've been here longer than an hour. What if I get caught? What about if a policeman comes and says, well, you don't live in Bromsgrove, what are you doing here? Because I literally hurt because I went and cut my mum's lawn for her.
Yeah.
But I was hearing about people that were going for walks up the Malverns, and police were literally waiting on the car parks for people to park their cars, asking them where they were from. And if they weren't local, they'd be like, well, you're getting nicked. Because
that's mad.
Because you weren't supposed to go that far away or that. What a crazy time that all was.
Did the coppers have noses like this?
100%.
I mean, they're going, are you local? This is a local hills for local people.
Royston Vasey, they were definitely, definitely strange coppers, I think. But I think back to that time, and we're going to be able to tell in 50 years, we'll look back and think, did we really just stay inside for like all that time? Madness.
There's children who missed out on like 2 years of social interaction with other children.
I'm convinced
that's going to really affect them.
I'm convinced that toddlers from that year would have, if you were between the ages of, I don't know, 1 and 5, and you'd never really met other school children before, and then you were encouraged not to see anybody else apart from your parents for 3 months or something. Yeah, that must have done some sort of psychological damage. But well, before we go down that rabbit hole too far, COVID is a little bit about what we were going to talk about, isn't it?
Yes, we are.
Because one of the key Olympic players was struck down with COVID. But I was going to just quickly mention some of the things that we've got, or you lucky people who are listening to this podcast have got to look forward to. So we are finally going to get round to comments and emails.
Yeah, that is our first port of call. Yeah,
because we haven't mentioned them. We always leave it till last. Realize we're at 157 or something like that, and we think, we can't do it now because it's another 50-minute segment. But we're going to talk obviously about the Olympics with our Olympic picks. There's been a lot of action, especially on the track that we wanted to talk about, 1,500, 5,000. The 100 and the 200 meter finals were very fun. I was going to ask you a few questions about your favorite kits of the Olympics.
Oh, yes.
And I was also going to show you are we going to do our 3 Olympic picks, some of the interesting things that we've found this week. And I've got 2 new pairs of shoes to show you. I went online shopping this week and I've bought myself some shoes. And in fact, I even put it on the podcast Instagram, and 2 people have correctly guessed
shoes.
What were in the packages? Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, and then if we're gonna have time, hopefully we're gonna talk about our running and our training week.
Yeah.
Probably won't be able to talk about the running, but we're talking about
elephant else is running. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Right. So, shall we get straight into the emails and comments?
Let's. Do you want to start with comments, or shall I? I've got an email ready to go, but you can.
Oh, if you've got it ready to go, let's go for it.
Right. So I've noticed that we've had a few things that have come into our spam. So, Richard Ironfield. Apologies in advance. Was that you that meowed then, or was that Boba?
No, that was my little man down here.
I thought you were a cat ventriloquist. Here he is. All right, Bobes. How's the bow tie?
Say hello, mate. Say hello.
Meow. Look at that face. That is it's such an impressive bow tie he's got.
It's good, isn't it?
It's not an actual bow tie.
Or moustache.
Moustache, yeah. It's like a French curly moustache, isn't it? It looks very, very, yeah. Right. So this has come from Richard Ironfield. Unfortunately, it's been in our spam for a couple of weeks, as of loads of messages, which we won't have time to read. But one of them was from Richard Ironfield. And it says, "Hey up, chaps. Before I get into my question, I'd like to say a huge thanks for the material you both put on this podcast and your own YouTube channels. Many an hour has been spent listening to and watching your content, and this podcast has become a good friend on my Sunday long run or long drives away for work. There must be very long drives.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, my question. This was prompted by a comment in last week's podcast, and it got me thinking, to pause or not to pause. What is the etiquette and what does everyone else do? I tend not to pause my watch as my run takes as long as it takes. If I have to stop for any reason, traffic lights, laces too tight on my race shoe, blah, blah, blah. He says a common error despite checking and double checking pre-run or any other reason, I tend to think that it's part of the run. Therefore, the watch in San Dimas, if you get the film reference, the watch in San Dimas. I don't get that film reference. I'm sorry. That's gone straight over my head, Richard. I'm not as well read as you. Interested to know your thoughts and other listeners' views on this. Keep up the good work. Toodle pip, Rich. So, yeah, where do you stand on pausing?
It all depends on what type of run I'm doing. Yeah. If I'm doing a session, yeah, I wouldn't pause it. I would just lap the watch because it's the bits where you're not running full pelt. They're your recoveries, so they should be lapped and they should be recorded. But if I'm out on a long, steady run, then I probably would pause. But if I was in a race, I'd never pause if I stopped.
No.
So, like, do you know, like when you did your ultra race,
and
when you were going to like the feed stations and stuff,
yeah,
I wouldn't pause my watch then because it's part of a race. So you want to get the whole time of how long the run actually is. Whereas if it was just a steady run I was going out on or a Sunday long run, I probably would pause when I.
Well, you know who the folk are that are pausing their watches during races. They're the Strava PB folk, rather than.
Yes, they are.
I've just done a marathon in 2 hours 20.
Yeah,
I mean, it took me about I didn't mention that I had like half an hour recovery, and it took me 3 weeks to do it.
Yeah,
but all that matters is the Strava time. That's the only thing. Matters.
The moving time, not the elapsed time. Yeah.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah,
because I'm one of them.
But I don't think there's any problem with pausing your watch on like a long run or a steady run, because I mean, who says you can't take a break whilst you're going and doing a long run? It's not a
Yeah.
race. It's not a race. So if you're stopping for a few minutes, just pause it. It's like I've started now, because I used to, like, every time I had a session on a Tuesday and Thursday, I used to do a run down to the session and then stop, like end the workout there.
Yep.
And start a new one for the warm up and then end it. Then start a new one for the session and end it. Then start a new one for the warm down. But I've started like running down and just pausing my watch when I get down to the thing, wait until everyone's there, and then just restarting it when we go off to the warm up. So I end up doing like 4 miles. So 2 mile down there, 2 mile warm up. But there's a big 10-minute pause in the middle. And I don't think that's a problem, really. It's still the same run.
Yeah. Here's a scenario. What about if you're in a tempo run?
Yeah.
On one of your local routes, let's just say around Arra Valley, and a mate of yours is running the other way, and they start slowing down as if to say, "All right, mate, it's more than a all right, mate." If you can think, or they've got a question brewing here, they're going to ask me something. Do you stop or do you crack on?
Oh,
because just while you're thinking on that, I sounded like the rudest person ever. It was a few months ago now. I don't know who it was, and I haven't seen them since. But I was running around the river, and I was doing some sort of session. So it was like, I don't know, half marathon pace or marathon pace or something like that. And I was in the middle of a block of pace. And someone ran past me, and I could see them, because you see the finger go to the watch and they've paused it.
Yeah.
So they've drawn their line in the sand and they've said, right, I'm standing here. Do you want to chat? And I've just ran past it. And it even said, made me feel even worse. Because I was like, and I said, I'm so sorry, mate. I can't, I'm on a session. I'm doing 5 by a K or something like that. And he said, I love the channel, mate. I was like, oh my God. So he's obviously seen me and thought, oh, he's like a YouTuber guy. I'll have a chat with him. And then he's just completely dismissed me. And
yeah.
And he's just cracked. So, because I was like, I can't stop like mid.
Yeah, it's such a tough one though, effort. Because when you're in a session and you're doing an effort, you can't stop the effort halfway through, because that then ruins the session. Yeah, you've got to put that effort into that rep. Oh yeah, that's a tough one. That is.
Yeah,
I think you did the right thing, and it's not like you blanked them. You did say, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't stop. I'm in the middle of."
But you just feel so rude, because that person just wanted to stand and chat.
Yes,
and I just thought, felt... But if it was anything else, if it was an easy run, like then
that's
of course.
Exactly what I was going to say. If it depends on what type of run it is, whether I would stop or not.
So when you get to traffic lights, do you normally? I mean, everyone has to cross roads. Like, you just have to cross roads. Let's just say it's a busy town centre road.
Yeah.
Are you pausing your watch while you're waiting 20 seconds for the lights?
Yeah, it depends how long I'm going to have to wait for the lights. If I'm waiting 2 or 3 seconds, no. If I'm waiting 20, 30 seconds, yes.
Yeah, I'm the same. You just get a feel for the traffic, don't you? And you know if it's worth it or if it's not worth it. But I'm a big pauser of my watch. I don't mind pausing it. But like you just said about the trails, I've stopped. It's almost pointless, because when I run on trails and the hills and stuff like that, time doesn't really matter. And I think sometimes as well, the only person that really cares about your speed and time is you, really.
Yeah.
So once you realize that no one actually cares whether you stop or start your watch, or, then you feel a bit more liberated. So you can go, you can choose to start it or stop it or do what you want with it. Yeah.
The only time people care is if you try and claim that you've run fast or done something special.
Yeah.
And then people will look at the elapsed time and go, hang on a minute. So it all comes down to what you're trying to pass over. If you're trying to say that you've run a really good long run and you've run 13 miles maybe on a Sunday really well, and then people look at your elapsed time and you've had 5 breaks of 5 minutes at a time, then
I saw the running channel do a video not long ago, and they did it's like how to. I mean, fair enough, they did say it in their title. It was like how to cheat a 5K PB or something like that. And they just ran 500, or they just ran fast 400 intervals with 2-minute recoveries or something like that. I was like, well, that's not really a 5K, but I kind of see what you've done there.
It's definitely not. No, it's a 5K session, but it's not a 5K.
No, you can't claim that as a 5K. But that's the beauty of lapping your watch, isn't it? And I think it takes a bit of confidence to learn how to use the lap button. And I've still not 100% there, because when we talk about my track session I did on Wednesday, I've got a question for you, actually. Would you have lapped it in this scenario? But the lap button can be the amount, by the way, the amount of times, because of my Garmin face is obviously it's different to your Apple Watch or your Coros, whatever you wear. But the amount of times, especially the first track session I did, I'd go to lap my watch and then I'd just go up a screen and it'd just tell me like what my heart rate is, or it would just go up a screen and show me my Parkrun barcode because I've pressed the wrong button. But it's just little things like that, like knowing where the lap button is and what it does. And sometimes you accidentally press it and it's, you don't understand what it is, what it's doing, but it is a very useful button, isn't it? Maybe we can do a whole podcast one day on the lap beauty of the lap button. And but good question.
It was good.
I'm definitely a pauser.
Yeah, and me. Have we got any more emails, or are we going straight to the
that's
comments
it.
now?
Yeah, that's everybody else we've read out.
Excellent. So on to the comments, and we've got to go back. How many? 3 episodes of comments we've missed.
Okay.
Whoops.
It's another 2-hour podcast incoming.
Yeah.
Well,
so first one is from a couple of weeks ago. Kieran Turner says, I can confirm the Mizunos are comfy, soft, and bouncy.
He says, we were talking about these. Yeah.
I couldn't see me running beyond half marathon in them, as my form will always die when I'm knackered, and I think you need to keep good form. Watch this space.
Interesting.
And I also separate warm up and cool down unless it's pre-programmed into my watch. Cheers, fellas. Another great pod. So cheers, Kieran. So we were talking about, do we separate warm up and cool down, or as I like to call it, a warm down, separate from the session? And and that's a good point, actually, unless it's pre-programmed into his watch, which some people do, because their sessions, rather than manual lapping each of their reps, it's all programmed in, and sometimes the warm down and the warm up are all part of that session.
Part of it.
But so the Mizunos, the Wave Rebellion Pros, apparently are comfy, soft, and bouncy. So that sounds good.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
So we then had a comment from Lee Chesterton, who said, "Hi, Andy. If you're thinking of doing a track session," so this is before you even got onto the track. If you're thinking of doing a track session, especially for the first time, rather than bashing out 400s, why not try jog splitting the track into 3 zones? Zone 1, jog easy. Zone 2, medium pace. And zone 3, quick pace. And repeat each zone for about 133 meters. As you get fitter, each zone will become quicker. These are rolling with no walking. Also a great session if you train with a training partner. 10 to 12 laps should be enough to start with. Great way to build speed and endurance for a sub 20 park run. So, that's that could be a good introduction to track for beginners, to be honest. So splitting into thirds and just slowly progressing each lap, and then bringing it back to your first pace when you hit the start and finish line, and progressing through the lap again.
So that's one of the main takeaways I've had from track is it's short, sharp bursts, and it's bringing everything back to recovery basically, and then it's going hard again, and then it's bringing it back down, and then it's working in that middle ground, and then it's just because what I would normally do is train for longer intervals basically, and what I've been enjoying doing is training over 200s and 400s, and like Lee says, it's really good to just constantly change speed. And but yeah, that's a fair cop. That is what he's just said. Definitely get that.
He also put another comment at the same time, saying a few years back, and I don't know if it's still done, but I think it was probably Redditch Stars, and I think they do still do this, used to do a handicap parkrun on, I think, a Wednesday evening, where depending on your time, the slowest runners go first. So, for instance, Andy would go first, and then Brett would start a couple of minutes behind, depending on difference in your PB time. So hopefully everyone would finish at the same time. So I was wondering if that would be something you guys would think about on a normal Saturday parkrun, especially for one of Andy's sub-20 attempts, would make a great vid.
What, the thought of you chasing me down?
Yeah.
That probably would spur me on, because I do like a bit of competition. However, the thought of you like hitting me in the last kilometer, me fading and you picking up pace, no, I would not enjoy that at all, because I know what happens to me in the last kilometer, or especially the fourth, as you're picking up pace, and I'll probably be able to see you, or at least know you're behind me.
But what you've got to remember is, if I'm starting a few minutes behind you, then I'm going to be running at PB pace as well, so I'll be dying the same.
Oh yeah, that is true. But we did talk about that, didn't we? Because last year we did our Brett versus Andy challenge, when we did the naked challenge, and we chose a time at the Leamington Half Marathon that, well, we were given a time, weren't we? And we had to try and run as close to that. And then we were thinking, oh, we could do other ones, but we never got round to doing them. But that was one style of thing we mentioned.
Yeah.
A sort of like a catch me if you can kind of.
Yeah, handicap race.
So yeah, that's a good shout, Lee. I think maybe having, me being the rabbit and Brett being the greyhound could be incentive for me to go for that sub-20. Yeah, good shout.
So we'll see. You never know. So then we had a comment from Run Like a T-Rex, which is David.
Dave,
yeah. And he put, hi guys, another great pod. Best of luck with the house move, Andy, and well done on completing Run to the Stones. So that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
You are now in your new house, and recovered from that. So two different questions here. So first one, I've signed up for my very first marathon, Manchester 2025.
Amazing.
You are going to love it. Manchester's a great marathon to do. So you're going to absolutely enjoy that. But having done 3 half marathons to date, most recently Coventry in 1:52:05, I won't be starting a training program for Manchester until December. But what training or general advice would you give somebody so they start marathon training block in the best possible position? Any advice from training, S&C, mobility, recovery, or anything else would be greatly appreciated. Well, so do you want to go for that one first?
I'm kind of in that scenario at the moment, because I've got a training block that's coming up in, I think it's a week on Monday, my Valencia training block, because that'll be 16 weeks before Valencia. And what I would do, Dave, is do 100k race and then run the Cotswold Way. So do 100 miles and then do 100k race, and then you'll be in the best shape of your life. That is lies. I feel so well, not at the moment. About a month ago, having done those ultras, I felt great because I'd accomplished some really good things, but I didn't really feel very sharp, if you know what I mean. So I'd say, I mean, we use this term sort of all the time, but keep yourself sort of ticking over. And I don't think you should abandon speed. I think you should keep up if you do speed work. Keep that up, but also keep maintaining your easy stuff. Don't ever lose your easy days. So don't just do one hard parkrun a week and that's enough. Like, I'd still keep doing your easy stuff, and just keep yourself ticking over. It doesn't have to be. You know that you're going to be, if you're doing a 16-week program, that's going to be a tough 16 weeks. So maybe don't do anything as tough as that on the lead up to it. Just keep working on that base. Keep yourself sharpened by, keep doing the speedy stuff. I know you're in a club. I think you're in, is it Massey Runners, which I think are COV? Yes. I think they are. Yeah. So, keep taking advice from those guys, because there'll be hundreds of people in that club who are also in exactly the same boat as you that will be training for Manchester and London and other spring marathons. But yeah, just keep yourself ticking over. That's what I would do, is just keep enjoying your running, because then you want to hit your training block feeling, okay, I'm locking in now. I'm really excited for this next 16 weeks, because I've done training blocks before where I've got to the first day or the first week of training, and I've just felt like, okay, it's going to take me, at this rate, it's going to take me 4 weeks to feel match fit, if you know what I mean. And that's the difference between what I'm about to do next week. Since the ultras have finished, I could have just carried on just doing, long, easy zone 2 stuff. But I've decided to start doing the track stuff. I've done a few hard park runs since, and I've done a few bits of tempo-y stuff and some hill work. And it's just kept me sharp, but the volume has been a lot lower than what it will be. Like, for example, at the moment, I'm about 25 to 30 mile a week, which is about 50K. And my volume going into the block will be 60K minimum, working up to about 100 when I peak. So yeah, I'd keep your volume below where you probably know your volume for the block is going to be. But yeah, I know it's a broad phrase, but keep yourself ticking over, keep yourself happy, be kind to yourself. You don't need to train too hard. Don't overtrain. But yeah, just keep yourself sharp as you can.
Yeah, that's some good bits in there. I think my some advice I would give is don't go into the block with too much fatigue to start off with. I think I've learned that from my last marathon block. So for Manchester 2022, I started the block already at like around 55, 60 mile a week. So I'd come into it after running consistently decent mileage all the way up to starting the block. So I then went from 60 miles and peaked at just under 90 mile. But the graduation of mileage wasn't that much of a difference. Whereas this year, yes, it was partly because of my injury and I was just getting back into it, but I started the block at 30 miles a week. And because I started at a much lower volume and the run up to the block was a much lower volume, the progression was much bigger. So I went from 30 miles a week up to 92 miles a week on my peak. But I think I was fresher, so I was able to actually do the training properly because I hadn't got that fatigue from all of the training before. So try and go into the block feeling as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
But then don't start, although you're going into a marathon training block, you don't have to start the block running at marathon pace. What you first need to do is start getting the mileage in your legs. So you want to build up the mileage first, especially on that long run, before you start putting marathon pace into that long run. the distance to start off with for your Sunday long run is the most important part. And then once you're comfortable running those longer distances, that's when you start to put in your marathon pace running into it. So I don't think I put any marathon pace into my long Sunday run for about the first 5 weeks. And then started to put blocks and like different sessions together on the Sunday to start running that marathon pace. But you should be in your marathon block, you should be training at marathon pace. So put in some of that effort in. You should be training faster than marathon pace because you want to make marathon pace feel as comfortable as possible. So if you're putting in some tempo and threshold work, then that is good for you. But then you should also be doing quite a bit of running slower than your marathon pace because you need that recovery. So please, please, please do not forget about recovery days. Recovery is really important, and recovery runs at recovery pace are really important, but also rest days if you need them. So some people do 6 days a week and have a rest day. I personally do 5 days a week and have 2 rest days every week to make sure that my body is recovering. And make sure you keep S&C as part of your routine because you need that strength to be able to get to the end of the marathon feeling good.
I think as well, it's worth saying as well, even when, so for example, you and your times, your speed, and obviously you probably think this about people ahead of you as well, who are faster than you. It's easy to think that just because you're fast, it's easy. It's not. It's not. No. Marathon pace is hard, especially 16 weeks before. Like, Dave, whatever your goal time is, maybe you don't even have a goal time. I don't know, but what if maybe that's not even in your thoughts. But once you sort of think about what you want your marathon pace to do, because I think that is quite important. Otherwise, you kind of just your training blocks loses focus and it becomes a little bit wishy-washy. So I think it's quite important to have just a goal time in your head that you want to finish. Go on the pace conversion charts online and find out what paces you need to be sort of hitting. That time will feel scary. You'll be like, hang on, that's currently my 10K pace, or that's currently, but the rest, it just follows, doesn't it? Just take the time, like Brett says, put the miles in your legs, and you'll soon realize, oh, hang on, I couldn't run this pace last week, but now I've just done it up a hill. What's going on? That's the science of training, isn't it? It just comes with time. Just be patient and it will come.
So something else I did quickly want to say as well is sometimes people get carried away with mileage as well and how many miles you should be running on a Sunday. But for people who are running around 3 hours or 3:30 or something like that, mileage can be fine because you're running at a decent Sunday long run pace. But if you're running a bit slower, so people who are not running at that pace, if you go out and do the mileage, you are putting way more time on your feet every Sunday. So instead of miles that you need to hit on a Sunday, maybe think about time. And a lot of top end marathon runners talk about that 2-hour Sunday run. So your long run when you are marathon training should be around 2 hours. So if you're not going to cover the mileage that some people are doing on a Sunday in 2 hours, then don't think about mileage. Think about the time on feet, because 2 hours on a Sunday is a lot of running. So if you're thinking mileage and the mileage is actually going to take you 3 hours, that's going to take so much longer to recover from. And it's actually probably going to put you back in your training rather than improving your endurance, because you've got way more fatigue in your legs and your body that you can't recover from quickly enough. So maybe think about in time to start off with rather than trying to hit that mileage. Think about time goals for your training.
Yeah.
And pace. and pace wise, sorry, just to keep talking. I would say your marathon, so your easy pace should be like conversational pace, but I would say your marathon pace should be around your tempo. So your tempo running and your tempo pace should be about your marathon pace. So I would say tempo for me is around 6:30 to 6:40 a mile, and my target pace for the marathon was 6:40 a mile. So that's about your tempo pace. Your half marathon pace is about your threshold pace. And then you then start to get into your VO2 and your higher paces for your 10K and your 5K. But those words sometimes get confused in the threshold and your tempo and all things like that. But I tend to see your tempo as your marathon pace, your threshold as your half marathon pace, and then we're getting into the quicker bits. So you need to be training all of those different areas to get the benefit for the longer endurance. You don't want to just train one area and only be good at one thing. You need to have those different feelings of how different efforts feel, because trust me, when you get to the end of the marathon, it'll feel like you're running at VO2 max, even though you are running at tempo.
Yeah. And when you see, I always find it comical when you see a video of yourself running at the end of a race and it feels like you're running out of your skin, and you think, well, you look like you're running walking pace. What you're doing? Why did it feel so fast? But it does, because it's the effort, isn't it? Effort is so much greater towards the end of a run, and that's just physics, isn't it? It's just science, biology, whatever. Exactly. It just happens. Yeah,
exactly. But best of luck. You are going to smash it, and you will love Manchester. So best of luck for the training block. But I would say start your training block. Either December or start it in January. Have Christmas, enjoy Christmas. Don't think that you can't have the food that you want and the drinks that you want at Christmas just because you're marathon training. Actually enjoy Christmas and then start in the new year, because you'll have plenty of time. You'll have about 15, 16 weeks from the new year. So as long as you start the block feeling in a good place, both physically and mentally, you'll get there. And then his second question was, as a budding new YouTuber, what advice would you give to a YouTube newbie? I'm a married dad of 2, so time and money, like for all people, is at a premium, but I'm enjoying the journey so far, and it's early days.
Interesting. Well, everyone's got different priorities, and everyone's got different, things going on in their life. But one thing that we have both said, and speaking for myself, we're maybe not the best people to talk to about YouTube, because we're not exactly grandmasters of it, but but I think we've always sort of said where YouTube comes and where it should come in order of things. And sometimes the order can change. I mean, for me, it's always family, work, running, YouTube. YouTube's always bottom of that list. Sometimes it creeps up. The amount of rows I've had with Laura when she's saying, can you put your bloody phone down? Stop checking analytics. But it's like an addiction sometimes. And that's where I know it's got too much. It becomes too much. And on that subject, I haven't released a video now for ages, and I'll be honest, and I've really enjoyed having a break. I've really enjoyed just not making any videos, because just remember, you can be your worst enemy sometimes, and you're only putting all this effort into YouTube because you think that's what people want. You can't second guess what people want. So what you've got to do is just remember what makes you happy. If you love making videos every day or every 2 weeks or every month, just do that. But just remember, YouTube on top of running equals potential burnout. So just remember not to do too much that you can't commit to. I really enjoy doing the weekly videos, especially when I'm in training, because I quite like the what's the word? It's almost like the therapist. Or we use YouTube. I think we're the same, Brett. We sort of use YouTube as like a training diary.
Yeah.
It's like you can look back on it if you want to. It's not just purely an entertainment thing. I don't do this to try and entertain people or wow people. I'm doing it as much as anything else to remember what I've done. It's like a really, and as well, when you film the races, there's some of the coolest moments you'll ever have in your life. So getting them on film is another thing. But to be honest, Dave, my advice when it comes to YouTube is don't burn out. Remember why you're doing it, because you enjoy making the videos. You enjoy sort of making friends in the comments. You know, people can be, you know, really helpful. They can say some really useful things to you in the comments, and you can learn loads of stuff from other runners. So yeah, I wouldn't do too much too soon. Don't worry if you don't see massive channel growth. Don't worry if Adidas and Nike and all these people haven't come in to sponsor you. Don't worry about that sort of stuff. Remember that you're just try and be humble about it, and just see what happens. And that's the way I do it. Is just remember, don't lose your focus, and remembers on what really matters. You know, what don't lose sight of what really matters, because the amount of people that do YouTube and then just quit because it all gets too much. There's a lot of that happens a lot, because this extra layer of not responsibility, but this extra layer of work you create for yourself is quite a lot. So yeah, just bear that in mind, but just keep doing it. If you enjoy it, just keep doing it. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Just only make videos if you enjoy making videos. You can tell a mile off people who are doing YouTube and making running videos because they enjoy doing it and they are being genuine and being themselves. And you can tell the ones who are doing it to try and get views and what their aims are. And unfortunately, for every successful YouTube channel, there are probably hundreds of unsuccessful that never get found. And if you are only doing it to try and make a successful channel, you're never going to get anywhere, because you are just going to feel defeated constantly. So make the videos because you enjoy making the videos. As Andy said, that's what we do. We use it as a training diary, and I quite like putting it out there. And if people enjoy it, brilliant. If people don't like it, that's cool. Whatever. But I enjoy making the videos, so that's the most important thing. You've got to enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, what is the point in doing it? It's extra work. It is extra stuff in your life, and on top of everyone's busy life, because life isn't easy, and putting extra work on top of that when you're not enjoying it, that's silly. So if you enjoy it, go for it, put effort into it, and just enjoy the process.
I think put the right amount of effort into it. Make something that you're proud of. But I mean, I'm guilty of this. Don't spend too long on it, because it's very often it's a very fruitless endeavor. And if you're spending days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks on one video, you think, oh, everyone's going to love this. And then I have this myself, and you make a video and nobody watches it, and they watch the one that you think, why have you watched that one, not this one? Perfect example for me with my Cotswold one. I spent so much time and effort on those videos. Each one of them was a half an hour each. And then I released a silly Droitwich one, and that went top of the league straight away. And that one took me about 20 minutes to make, and the others took me days. But at the end of the day, I don't really mind so much about the analytics, because you kind of feel yourself getting drawn into the numbers. But it depends what you want to be. If you want to be a commercial entity and you want to, I don't know, maybe you aspire to get loads of free stuff and you aspire to build a community of runners, then there are certain things you have to do. But if you just want to use it as merely just a training diary, like you said, people can smash or pass. That's up to them. They don't have to watch it. It's just up to them. And that's pretty much the way we roll, isn't it? I'm not bothered about getting sponsorship. I'm not bothered about bringing brands on board. I'm not bothered about getting free stuff. Yes, that stuff would be nice, but it's not why I'm doing it. But like you said, Dave, you're a married man. You've got kids. They're your priority. And maybe they love the fact that you make the videos, and maybe that's your fuel. Maybe that's your, so maybe you're doing it for them.
Yeah.
Just find what feeds the addiction, really. And if you enjoy it, keep doing it.
Wicked. So thanks, Dave. Thanks for your questions and your comments. And the last one from a couple of weeks ago was from Owen Casey, and he said Italia 90 was brilliant. Ireland getting to the quarterfinals was a particular highlight, and then beating Italy in the Giant Stadium in USA 94 was a great time for Irish football.
Ray Houghton, what a goal. I still remember that. I was 9. I remember watching that. And his little celebration, like he couldn't believe he just scored. I remember that. And was it Mick McCarthy? And John Aldridge on the sidelines going mental because he couldn't get on because somebody wouldn't put him on as a substitute. I remember that or was that another game? I can't remember. But what a tournament! USA 94 and Italia 90, the golden age of football. Yeah,
brilliant. Then we go to episode 26.
It was Jack Charlton. I think he was the manager.
Yes,
Jackie Charlton.
Yeah,
that's it.
Was, then we go. So comments from episode 26. So Gary Manders said track sessions were always fun at Stars with hilarious moments. Used to have fast local 16-minute runners running alongside me. Tom Bristow, for example. Yeah, Tom is silly quick. On their recovery, when I was on it, so to speak, running high 6-minute miles to low 7 minutes, and the buggers would be chatting to me and I wouldn't have the breath to tell them to sod off.
Probably talking to him about hanging up medals.
Yeah. And then, what else have we got? Rob Scott says, here's a question for you both. Given upcoming PB attempts, does your 5K/3K PB have to be a timed race or a parkrun? Or would you go to a track and do a solo timed effort? And do people have a different claimed road and track PB, or is it just your best verified effort over a given distance? Obviously, GPS PBs are a no-no, given the unreliability of the distance, but a self-timed 12.5 laps is guaranteed accurate, right? All the best with the upcoming attempts.
Wow. I mean, that's a fair point, because if you're running around a 400-meter track, like is it Rob? Rob, who said that? That's
Rob, yeah.
Like he says, that there's no.
You are guaranteed to run that distance.
Undisputable.
Yeah.
But this is your territory, really. Like, you take this one, because I'm sure you've got a lot of things to say on it.
Yeah. So when it comes to having a different road and track PB, I would say they are different, because running on a track is very different to a road race. Obviously, in a road race, you can have all sorts of different corners. There can be tight turns, there can be round cones, you can have inclines, you can have downhills. It changes as a road race. But on a track, you are guaranteed that it's going to be flat, and there's going to be 2 straights and 2 bends every lap. And it's a constant. The only difference is some tracks have longer straights and tighter corners, and some tracks have shorter straights and more shallow bends. But when it comes to PBs on Power of 10, which is I don't know if everybody knows what Power of 10 is, but basically, as a registered club runner with England Athletics, you have a athletics profile, which is called on a website called Power of 10. And on that, it lists all of your results from official races throughout each year, and then puts your PBs from each year onto a list for all of the distances, but then gives you an overall PB of all of those distances.
Yeah.
And on Power of 10, you will have a 5K PB, but you'll also have a 5,000 meters PB, or you'll have a 10K PB or a 10,000 meters PB.
Yeah.
And 10,000 meters and 5,000 meters are on the track, and 5K and 10K are on the road. So they're named differently depending on what discipline they are. So yes, you would have different PBs. So I'm in the mindset of yes, they would be different. But I think, if you're running a guaranteed measured distance, then yes, you can claim it as a PB. But I always like using official timed races to guarantee that my timing is 100% correct.
Yeah, because I am like Parkrun, there could be human error. I mean, there could be human error at any race. Of course, we've seen it with Newport. So which was controversial, but maybe that wasn't human error at all, after all. But I don't know. Maybe that's because I don't do many 5K races. I would qualify Parkrun as a yes. I'd say you could claim a 5K PB at a Parkrun because you'd think that's been accurately measured, and you know
that's what I was going to say. That's the issue: is how accurately measured is it? That's the only thing with Parkrun, because each week, every Saturday, they're setting up the cones and the start line and everything. How can you guarantee that it's in exactly the same place every week?
Yeah, you can't, can you? Yeah. What is your 5K PB from a Parkrun?
I have never run a 5K race. I've only
Have
ever
you
done
never?
Parkruns. No.
So that's why this Chester thing is so annoying for you that you.
But I've postponed that now. I've now put my entry back to May next year.
Have you? Okay.
I've deferred entry.
Right. Yeah, but I think I would claim a 5K. Having said that, I'm actually doing a race, a 5K race a week on Sunday, around my old stomping ground in Worcester, around the river. So I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So you'll have an official 5K race PB.
I did it this time last year, and I thought because it's a race, I'm going to probably do it faster than Parkrun, but I did it something like 4 or 5 seconds slower. So I think I did it 6 seconds slower than my Parkrun PB. So, yeah. But what will be a good line to draw in the sand this year is, will I do the same course quicker this year? Because I will be keen to see if I can beat that time. Because I did 20:43 last year.
Nice.
And my PB is 20:37 from Worcester Pitchcroft. So, but yeah, was that the only bit of the question? Was there anything else within that? Was that the timed? I think when you think about it, Parkrun is a timed event. So I think it's fine to take a 5K.
Parkrun times go onto your Power of 10 as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it goes down as Parkrun. It doesn't go down as 5K.
Ah, right. Okay. Interesting. Right. Okay.
See, this is a world you will enter into soon when you actually sign up for a club. You will enter into the world of England athletics.
Yeah, it's a scary world, really, because everything's so nice and simple at the moment, and then I'll be like, do I really want to run a 3,000 meter track race? Yeah, go on then.
Yeah,
that's probably what I'll be thinking. But
but then you'll go, oh, now I've done 3, I might try 1,500. Oh, I wonder what I could do over 400, and you'll end up doing all the distances.
Oh, it's frightening.
But yeah, so thanks for that question, Rob. We then had we had another one from Kieran Turner. It said, "Cheers, fellas. Made my Monday morning in the office a bit easier. Not that I'm a 5K runner, but I go slightly harder for the first K, hold on for 3K, and to just below the point of dying, and then I'll try and pick it up until I cross the line, trying not to vomit on a marshal."
Yeah, I think we've all been there. Yeah. It's
probably... Stephen Wright says, "Another great podcast, lads. Look forward to it every week. Makes my long commute so much better." Thank you, Stephen. And Mark G says, "Great episode, guys. I ran a 5K PB yesterday."
Legend.
Congratulations, Mark. My thoughts on Andy's question about pacing are to start just below target pace and build into it. Having said that, it was my first 5K race ever. Take from that what you will. I used Garmin Pace Pro, and my watch constantly told me how far ahead or behind I was overall for the lap.
Interesting.
So, having his watch beeping at him saying to speed up or slow down.
Yeah, but that's helpful. Well done, Mark.
And then on last week's episode, we had Freddie Runs said, "Hopefully see you at the Great North Run. Start wave green F for me." So
has he already got his start wave? I don't think I've got my start wave. I've had the event guide, but I didn't realise. Oh, well, I'll have to ask Freddie how he's found how he's got that already. But yes, Freddie, see you there.
Yeah.
Can he weird?
And then the last comment that we need to read out is from TQ on the Run, Todd Quiney. And he says, "As always, great company on the long run, lads. When me and KQ aren't out running together, listening to you guys ticks off the miles nicely. Keep up the great work, both. TQ on the Run and Hollywood."
Mr. Hollywood himself, aka KQ, Carl Quiney.
Yeah, brilliant. Always looks fantastic. Looks as slick as anything. Whether he's run a marathon or whether he's just walking to the shops, looks like he's just come off the catwalk.
Bit of hot stuff. Yeah, bit of hot stuff. Yeah.
So there we go. That is the comments and emails back up to date. So thank you so much for everyone for getting in touch.
Yeah, those last two guys that wrote in, Mark G, the test run, has got a YouTube channel. So go seek out Mark's stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of ultra stuff and lot of long distance stuff as well. So go and have a look at him. And also TQ on the Run.
Yes.
Has got a YouTube channel as well. So go and have a look at their stuff. And I think they're in training for Chester Marathon at the moment.
Yeah. And his episodes with Carl, KQ, it's like watching the Chuckle Brothers. It's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, good bands.
Yeah, they put out some really good content, and they are quick guys. They always make me laugh because they go down to Parkrun and they go, "Yeah, that was a decent Parkrun. It was an all right effort, 16 something," and I'm like, "Wish I could run 16 something and say it was an all right effort." Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. Oh god, no, they are quick lads, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. And I think they're just about to start marathon training again. I think they're doing Chester Marathon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Chester. Yeah. But I know with KQ, Mr. Hollywood himself, he's so fast. I don't know which comes first. I don't know if the beautifully groomed quiff makes him more aerodynamic, or because he's so fast, like maybe his quiff is permanently molded there that way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure which way around it goes, but yeah, brilliant. Well done, lads. Yeah.
But yeah, so that is the comments and emails. Shall we now move on to? I just want to start talking about the men's 1500 from Tuesday.
Oh
man,
what a race!
What a race! It was I knew it was going to be my highlight of the Olympics, and it absolutely delivered.
Absolutely has been the best race so far. Absolutely. So for context, for anyone that doesn't know, this race was billed as a shootout, like a 2-horse race. Really, it was built. It was billed as, can Josh Kerr knock Ingebrigtsen off his perch? He's already beaten him a few times.
So Josh Kerr is current world champion from last year when he beat Jakob in the 1500. And the year before, Jake Whiteman beat Jakob in the world championships. So 2 world championships in a row, 2 major championships, Jakob has been pipped to the 1500 title. But Jakob was current Olympic champion. So he was defending Olympic champion.
Yeah.
So this was the big shoot-off. Can Josh Kerr take down Jakob Ingebrigtsen? And all of the news, all of the stories was about those two.
Yeah.
And I was fully backing Josh Kerr. He looked in incredible shape. And I really, really wanted him to win that battle and get that gold medal. But
I was going to say, before we talk about the result, the race itself, if you look at the heats and the semis, Ingebrigtsen, I don't know if he did it on both heats or just the semi, or I think he did. His tactic, I don't know if this is always his tactic, but he starts at the back and then he normally kicks. Well, that's what he's done the last couple of races.
Yeah.
But this race,
yeah,
he went to the front straight away.
This is the thing. So in the heats and the semis, that's his usual tactic, because he likes to save himself as much as possible and then kick it down in the last lap, because he knows he's got the speed over everybody else and qualify. So he's doing as little as he can to expend as little energy as he can during the heats and the semis, so he can get through to the final and put his game plan into action.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his game plan at both of the last 2 world champs has been go out hard from the gun and try and drop everyone and make them hurt in the first 3 laps, and then just keep that effort on till the finish and beat everybody. But in the last 2 world championships, he's tried that tactic, and both Jake Whiteman and Josh Kerr, because they've got the kick and the 800-meter speed in that last 100 meters, they've gone round him and beat him both times.
Yeah.
So should he have changed his tactic? Probably. But is that the only way Jakob could win? Probably. He knows, I think Jakob knows he hasn't got the kick that some of the other guys in the field have got. So his only way of trying to win is to try and break them during the race and go out quicker. And by them putting too much effort in at the start of the race, they haven't got anything left at the end to try and kick him.
Yeah.
But it's not worked for him now 3 times in a row. And he's come to a major championships and it's not worked.
Well, should we just talk about the last lap? Because that was fascinating. Because I'm pretty sure Ingebrigtsen was in the lead up until the last 200, wasn't he?
Yes. Well, I'd say people went round him in the last 100 meters.
Yeah. So the race was his to lose up until that final bend. Yeah. And then that final bend, you can see the pace starting to increase. And you can see what's going through Ingebrigtsen's mind. So we're moving on towards about 150 meters, 100 meters to go. And you can see Ingebrigtsen feeling Josh Kerr on his outside, on his right-hand side. So what he tries to do, he tries to sort of edge him out and make Josh Kerr run those couple of extra meters, because he doesn't want him to do him on the outside again for the 3rd time, which was an interesting thing, because he forgot one vital thing, that there were not just 2 people in contention to win this race.
It wasn't just a 2-horse race. And oh man, I went down to, because it was on Tuesday evening, obviously, and we normally do a session with B&R on a Tuesday. So I went down to session and said, I don't care what happens, At 10 to 8 tonight, I am stopping whatever I'm doing and I am watching that final. And everybody went, yeah, that's 100% what we're doing. And we had a shorter session for that exact reason, so we could all finish. And all of the groups, so the young lads, their training group, and us older guys, we all went into the Abbey Stadium at the end to watch it on the TV. But the TV started lagging. And we were like, "Oh man, okay, we can't do this." The Abbey Stadium's internet was lagging, so I got it up on my phone, and a few of us went outside to watch it on the picnic benches outside. But I got down to training on Tuesday, and I said, "I'm backing Josh Kerr. He looks incredible. He looks so smooth. He looks in great form. He's in the shape of his life. But if Jakob and Josh get too concerned about each other, Cole Hocker's going to do them in the last 100 meters." And those were my exact words when I got down to session. I said, they need to watch it because Cole Hocker is going to come through and do them if they're too busy fighting against each other. And what happened?
That's exactly what happened. Because on that last 100 meters, you could see Ingebrigtsen trying to close one door. And as he closed it, he just opened another.
Yeah.
And it couldn't really have worked out any better for Cole Hocker, could he?
No.
Could it? Because he was sitting in third on the inside.
But I tell you what, you have got to give him a lot of credit, Cole Hocker, because if you watch, just coming off the bend, Jakob moves in slightly, and Cole Hocker has to check his step because he's going to run into Ingebrigtsen if he doesn't. So he has to take like a half a step and check himself before Ingebrigtsen moves out to try and block Josh, and then he sees the gap and goes for it. So to be able to be checked and lose his rhythm, but then still be able to kick in that last 100 meters and fly past everyone, mate, it was incredible. It was phenomenal to watch.
And then, because he really did charge, didn't he, on that last 100?
Yeah.
And he just looked, even Josh Kerr was doing his party trick of that kick, and he just couldn't match the speed of and Ingebrigtsen. Did he finish fourth in the end behind Nagoose?
Yeah, so Nagoose then came through and almost had Josh on the line, but Josh just got the silver. But it was incredible.
Really good race. Really good race.
I think, well, obviously Cole Hocker run an Olympic record, so that's just incredible. So that's the fastest 1500 ever in the Olympics. Just to start off with. Then Josh Kerr, he was so cool afterwards in his interview straight afterwards, because he said, they were like, "Are you disappointed you got silver?" And he said, "I can't be disappointed because I've just run the fastest and the best tactical 1500 meters I've ever run in my life. And if I start to worry about other people's performances, I'll never be happy."
Yeah.
And it's such a great thing to say, because he ran a national record. So he ran the fastest 1500 by any British runner ever. But got silver. And he couldn't have done anything more. So he did us proud.
I like that he said it's taken someone to run the fastest that the Olympics have ever seen to beat me.
Yeah.
Because it was an Olympic record that beat him. And it's true. He couldn't have done anything any different. And Cole Hocker was, So
Cole Hocker won it in 3:27.65. And then Josh came in 3:27.79. So he was, what's that? 14 hundredths of a second. And then Jared Nagoose came in at 3:27.8. So he was 1/100th of a second behind Josh Kerr.
Yeah.
So stupidly tight at the front. It was incredible to watch. And there was 12 people in that final, and the top 9 either got a PB, a national record, or a season's best, other than Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He was the only one who didn't PB or season's best.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the other, so in the top 9, 7 of them run a PB or a national record, which is obviously a PB as well. The only people who didn't run a PB or national record were Ingebrigtsen didn't run either. And the other one was Nordas, the other Norwegian, who run a season's best rather than a PB.
Okay.
And it was so, it's crazy. Like Neil Gawley, our other GB athlete who was in the final, he came in 10th in 3:30.88. So he's run a 3:30, 1,500 meters, and only come 10th. That's a crazy fast final.
Yeah. But that's what you want to see, isn't it? Like that's
like, mate, it was incredible. Yeah, I'll remember that for a long, long time.
And didn't you get shared by Josh Kerr as well?
Yeah, which was mad. So I put up a photo of all of us in the Abbey Stadium around the TV watching it, and obviously I'm not stupid. Josh Kerr isn't running his Instagram page.
No,
he ain't on there checking all his Instagram and checking who's tagging him and stuff. But whoever's running his page then shared my story of us all crowded around the TV watching it, which was pretty cool to get shared by that. But yeah, mate, it was such a good race, and as I say, my highlight of the Olympics completely. Just mate, loved it. Oh, and also, did you see Jakob then put up a post on Instagram, and it fair play to him. I must say,
was he quite gracious in defeat?
Yes,
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Which you don't see very often. He normally is a bit up himself and says, well, because a couple of times he said, well, Josh Kerr was just the next guy. He was the next guy. He's never really said anyone's better than me. He's always said, I am the best. But now he's been beaten in 3 major finals in a row. He can't say he's the best. If he's got wave lights and a pacer, no one's beating Jakob. Jakob is crazy fast, but he's like a metronome. He's a robot. He can run to that record pace. So he can run to that pace consistently for 1,500 meters, and no one's going to catch him.
Yeah.
But when he's got to pace the race himself, he always seems to get it wrong. And that's the thing between racing and running a fast time. When race tactics come into it, that's when it all matters. And he's got it wrong 3 times now.
Yeah, that's what I like.
He went out in such a fast first lap. I think he did a 54 for the first lap, which was way too quick. And I think he was just trying to break everyone, and he broke himself in the end. He just didn't have it in the last 100 meters. But on his Instagram, and what I do really like about it is, yes, he's been gracious in defeat, right? But he doesn't name Josh. So he doesn't say Josh Kerr's anywhere in the post. So although he is being gracious and he is saying, yes, they were better than me on the day, he doesn't actually mention Josh Kerr's name. And I think it is because there is an actual big rivalry between the two.
Yeah.
They do actually have a proper rivalry between them. But I think that stems from all of the things they've said about each other in the media. It's been very back and forth. But he said, well, I guess he did show up after all. Hocker and Nagoose as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't name Josh, but he's basically saying, look, yeah, he's been talking the talk and he walked the walk. He did show up. So he put, well, I guess he did show up after all. Hocker and Nagoose as well. My team always say that because you have a big mouth and is the one to beat, you have everything to lose in competitions. Today, Cole Hocker, Jared Nagoose, and Josh Kerr outsmarted me. They were the best guys when it really mattered. And I want to congratulate them on a great performance. So he always says, I am the best guy. And he says they were the best guys. Of course, I'm disappointed. Running is the ultimate sport. Everyone can participate. Everyone can set their own goals and achieve them. All you need is to show up. Not long ago, I trained alongside kids and average runners at Sandnes Stadium. Today, I competed alongside one of my countrymen in an Olympic 1500 final. 10 years ago, no one in Norway would have believed this was possible until Henrik and Philip showed us that it is. I sincerely want to express my gratitude and love to them and the rest of the team, and to my partners and the Norwegian Athletics Association and all my followers for the support this year. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Thank you also to my competitors for putting on a great show today. Congratulations to the guys for bringing home the medals. Luckily for me, I'll get to do it all again tomorrow morning, because obviously he's running the 5,000 as well.
Yeah, I actually quite like the guy, you know.
Yeah.
He's quite likable, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just like a pantomime villain, isn't he? He's lovable. He's not top of the tree anymore. And it's
and this is the thing. When he says, I am the best, he believes it. And the thing is, if you go into a final or any race, that is, without thinking you are the best and without thinking you can win it, what's the point in racing? What is the point in going to an Olympic final and not thinking you can win? What's the point in racing for second or third?
Yeah. It's purely tactical, isn't it? And everyone's got their own style of...
Like loads of people say Josh Kerr's really cocky because he says, I'm going to go out there and win it. If you don't think that, then you might as well not even bother starting. Don't stand on the start line without thinking you can win the race. That's the whole point of the Olympics.
And the thing is, it's a perfect media storm, isn't it? Not media storm, but with athletes, multiple athletes, all thinking that they're number one.
Yeah,
that couldn't be better hype. They do the marketing they do the company's marketing for them.
Yeah,
and it's or the race builds itself because of each one of these people thinking that they're great, and it's fighting talk, isn't it? And you have to.
Yeah.
And it lived up to the hype. It really did.
It did. Incredible. But as I say, my highlight. But Jakob goes again in the 5,000. He looked, even though he'd run the 1,500 meters final on Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, he comes out, does the 5,000 heat, and looks smooth as anything.
He had 12 hours recovery, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was a 10 o'clock in the morning race.
And he looks like he's just gonna walk that. He looks like he's gonna win that easy.
Do you think?
I think I think Ingebrigtsen's gonna win the 5,000. I don't think he'll let himself lose the 5,000 as well as the 15.
So do you think he'll learn from his mistakes and he'll hang out at the back? Or do you think he'll take this one on again?
I think he's a much stronger 5,000 meter runner and a much better tactician in the 5,000 meters than he is in the 15. So I think he will know what his tactics need to be, and he'll probably sit in the middle of the pack for most of the race and then just wind it up towards the end and just break everybody.
So the 5,000 meter men's final, this podcast will probably be out by the time we've watched it. Is it Saturday evening?
Yes, Saturday. Yes.
It's at like 7:00, isn't it? Yeah. And it's the women's 10,000 meter tonight, isn't it? I think.
Yes.
Which I think Eilish McColgan is racing in.
Is that tonight or is that tomorrow?
Oh, is it tomorrow as well? I thought it was tonight.
It might be tonight, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
But yeah, so let's go through though some other results from the Olympics that we've seen this week.
Yes,
which have been incredible. Women's 800. Oh man, Keely Hodgkinson.
Oh, phenomenal!
What an athlete, mate.
She is incredible. She is absolutely incredible.
That last 100 meters, she put on the afterburners and just went, "See you later, guys."
Did you see? I saw on Instagram or TikTok people trying to run her pace.
Yeah.
And they loads. One person managed it for just over a minute, and she's doing it. What did she get? 3:40. What? No, hang on. It wasn't 1500 meters, was it?
It was for 800. She ran 156.72.
156. Yeah. So running that pace for a minute's not bad, to be fair.
But she has run a 154 this year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. She
but yeah, she just smashed the field wide open. Mary Mora, who everybody thought was going to be her main competition, came in third in 157, and Daguma, who was second, ran a PB to get second and get the silver in 157 as well. So yeah, just Keely just looked incredible.
Was she ahead from the gun? Did she take it off from the gun? I can't remember.
Pretty much, yeah. But there was no way anyone was going to beat her. She was just in incredible form.
Yeah.
But yeah, just amazing. Just yeah. Everybody's calling her a GB's golden girl, and yeah, she was. She just showed everybody how it's done. Just get out there, get the job done.
But it never looked in doubt, did it? You know, her semi-8 was so smooth, and she raced it immaculately.
Yeah. And obviously our other two British runners in that, Gemma Reekie and Phoebe Gill, didn't get through to the final. They went out in the semis, but for Phoebe Gill to get to the semis of an Olympics in her first ever major championships at 17 years of age.
They said she's a sixth former. She's literally at sixth form. If I think about myself at that age,
she's just finished A-levels.
That's mental.
Yeah,
crazy.
She's now running the Olympics. So, yeah, incredible work from her. Gemma Reekie, it's disappointing she didn't get through to the final. She should have been there, but she's not had the best of races, the last few races she's done. So, yeah. But Keely, smashed it out the park. Brilliant. Then the men's 10,000 meters. What a race that was as well.
Was that won by one of the one of the Ugandans?
Yeah.
I can't.
Joshua Cheptegei won it.
Right. Yeah.
In a new Olympic record of 26:43. Yeah. Which is just crazy fast for 10,000 meters, isn't it? But what was mad is, so yes, he won the 10,000 meters in a new Olympic record, Cheptegei, but the first 13 people in that final broke the old Olympic record.
Wow.
That's how fast the race was. So 13 people in that race broke the old Olympic record, which was 27:01, which was Kenenisa Bekele, who had the Olympic record, and 13 people broke that Olympic record in this race.
Crazy. That's crazy fast.
And I've got to say, Grant Fisher, the American, what a run to get bronze in that race. Almost got the silver, but Aragawi just had a kick from nowhere, just came out of nowhere and just got through to get the silver. But yeah, great run. And I think 12th was Nico Young, who is a college athlete in America. So he's still only college age. So I think he was saying, I think it was Nico Young who was saying that when it comes to the next two Olympics, so the next one's in LA, in 4 years' time, and then I'm not sure where it is after that 4 years later. But then even in the next 2 Olympics, he still won't be 30.
Wow, what a career he could have then.
Yeah. So if he's breaking the old Olympic record in this Olympics, coming 12th, he could be absolutely flying in a few years. So he's one to watch out for. But yeah, that was a great race. Then what else should we talk about? So there was the men's 400 meters the other night, where our Brit Matthew Hudson-Smith came into the race having run the fastest 400 in the world this year. So he had the world lead. And he was on for the gold until that last few meters where Quincy Hall from USA, where he got that kick from and managed to pull that out in the last few meters. I have no idea.
He ran. Yeah, he ran 2 really good bends, didn't he? I remember watching Hudson-Smith, like, looked like the man to be. He looked like he was in first until that last 100, wasn't
he? Yeah. Well, 40 meters, I think he got past in the last 40 meters.
Oh, was it that?
Yeah, but how Quincy Hall had a kick like that at the end of a 400 meters, because an all-out 400 meters is horrendous, and to be able to have a kick like that in the last 4 years, man. But Matthew Hudson-Smith, again, like Josh Kerr, he couldn't have done anything else. He ran an area record and a PB, so a new English record. Just amazing.
Wolverhampton lad as well, Birchfield Harrier, isn't he?
Yeah, so he ran 43.44 and Quincy Hall ran 43.4. So it was 400th of a second off. But Quincy Hall run a PB as well to get gold. So it's crazy. So that was a great run. And he deserves all the plaudits he gets for getting that silver medal. Then there was,
I was going to say the 1 and the 200.
Yeah, so I was just going to go on to the women's 5,000 first of all.
Yeah.
Just to talk about the whole thing with the bit of the hustle and bustle of the pushing. Because Beatrice Chebet won it in the end. Faith Kipyegon got silver and Sifan Hassan got bronze. But Faith Kipyegon for a while was DQ'd. She was disqualified for a bit of elbowing and pushing and shoving.
But, she grabbed hold of someone, didn't she?
Yeah, well, she had a bit of a hustle and tussle with, I think it was Beatrice Chebet. She had the tussle with. But then they looked back at it and said, it was 50-50 and no one got impeded. No one actually lost out because of that. So she then got reinstated. But what must have been gutting was the person in fourth thought they had a bronze medal for a few hours and then woke up the next morning to be told, no, you were fourth.
Imagine, so they've disqualified her and then they've gone back on that.
Yeah. So, they DQ'd her instantly and said, look, you pushed someone, you're disqualified, so you've no longer got the silver. But then they rewatched all the footage and made a decision that actually she didn't impede anyone and didn't cause anyone to have a disadvantage. It was a 50-50 bit of a tussle, so then got reinstated to a silver.
Yeah.
But she was the favourite Faith Kipyegon. So she to get beat was a bit of a shock. But she is also the favourite for the 1500, which looks quite exciting. So just to talk about that quickly. So both Laura Muir and Georgia Bell are looking good. Georgia Bell looks particularly good in the 1500. So that final is tomorrow night. And unfortunately, is it Reeve or is it Reve Walcott Nolan, our other British girl? She didn't quite get through to the final, so she went out in the semi. She came 9th in the second semi-final, but she broke 4 minutes for the first time ever and ran a PB of 3:58.08. So again, couldn't ask any more from her than that. To run a PB in the Olympic semi-final and break 4 minutes for the first time ever. Amazing work.
Yeah. Mate, just while you're reading out some Olympic stats, I'm desperate for the toilet.
Yeah, go on then.
You just talk to everyone while I'll go for a wee. I'll be back in a minute.
I'm gonna break the podcast here, and it will be like nothing ever happened. Nobody will know that you've been to the loo.
All right, I'll go for number 2 then. All right, see you in a minute. I was joking about that. Right, just a Matthew Hudson Smith pace to get back. Sorry about that.
So Andy has just finished dropping the kids off at the pool, and he is back.
No kids were dropped off, I can confirm.
So continuing with the Olympic results, I just wanted to talk quickly about the 3,000 steeplechase, men's 3,000 steeplechase. Did you watch it?
No, don't think I did.
Okay, it was a crazy race. So they proper picked up the pace on the last lap, and on the back straight, they were full on going for it, like proper sprinting. And Lemaitre Germa, who is the world record holder, on the last barrier of the back straight. So you had that barrier, the water jump, one more barrier, and then the finish. So like the third from the end.
Yeah.
He went to jump it and didn't quite get over it properly and smashed himself into the barrier so hard. It was crazy. It was running full pelt and just smashed straight into the barrier. The barrier moved. He was hitting it that hard. And these aren't like hurdles that just fall over. This is a solid barrier. And he's not a big man either. He's quite obviously a small guy. And
Ouch.
he was like knocked out on the track.
Really?
But the race carried on, and El Bakali, who is his main rival, it was going to be between them two who won it. He ended up winning it. The American guy, Rooks, ran a PB to get silver, which was incredible. His kick in the last 200 meters was crazy. He ran a great race. But yeah, Lemaitre Germa had to be taken to a hospital, and he had he had a load of head scans and tests and everything to check that he hadn't got any head damage, and it all came back clear. And I haven't seen anything else since, but once they'd checked his head and made sure that was all okay, they were then going to check out his legs and everything, because he full on smashed his knee. So he's going to have loads of tests and scans and everything on his legs to see how he is. But hopefully he has a quick recovery and he's back to full health soon. But yeah, that was, oh man, it was horrible.
Poor bloke.
Real bad smash. But yeah, and then after that, the one that a lot of people were hyping up was the Noah Lyles battle for the 100 meters.
Yeah, I must admit, I couldn't decide whether I liked him or not. I was, again, thinking a little bit like Ingebrigtsen, like, oh, he's too cocky, this guy, for me.
Yeah. I think he's brilliant. He's such a great character. He's what the sport needs. He gets the headlines, and that's what you need in the sport.
Yeah, that is 100% right. Yeah.
And and he did it. He said he was going to do it, and he ran a PB in the final to get the gold medal by 5 thousandths of a second.
Just on this point, right? I saw a social media post on this, right? He won by 5 thousandths of a second. Apparently, I didn't realize this, but the starting blocks, I mean, they've been doing this for years, but they have a speaker behind them when the gun goes off. And I saw a post that said, the way they used to do it, if you were in lane 7, 8, or 9, the other side of the track, the time your reaction time would be slowed by about 0.008 of a second. So if you're in lane 1, you have an advantage.
Yeah.
And he won by, what was it, 0.005 of a second?
0.005 of a second, yeah. So if
he would have,
if it had been on the old one,
the
time difference to the Jamaican guy, what was his name? Kishane Thompson. So the difference in time that the sound from the old style gun would have taken to get to Noah Lyles, other than Kishane Thompson, would have been 0.008 of a second, and he won by 0.005 of a second.
Yeah, so, I love that. I think that's
incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. The margins are so tight, because when you're watching it, you can normally see daylight between competitors, but that finish was so tight, wasn't it? It was so tight.
Yeah, and then old Fred Curley, another American, came through to get third. He's another great character, and he deserves that third place, Fred Curley. I don't know if you know much about Fred Curley, but did you hear the story about him recently?
No.
So he was an ASICS runner, and he was sponsored by ASICS. And there's different opinions on why it happened or how it happened, but he was an ASICS sponsored runner. He was like the most well-known ASICS runner, and he had apparently the highest paying ASICS sponsorship of any athlete. And he went to a race somewhere, and he wasn't in ASICS shoes. He was wearing a competitor's shoes.
Yeah.
And after the race, people asked him why he was wearing another brand of shoes. And he said that his luggage got lost on the plane, so he had to borrow some shoes.
Right.
And because he ran in other a competitor brand shoes, people then got onto ASICS and said, could you give us a statement on what you think about Fred Curley running in non-ASICS shoes? And they said, we have severed ties with Fred Curley. Is no longer an ASICS sponsored athlete.
Oh.
But then people are saying that, so that could be one reason, that it was genuine. He forgot his shoes, forgot his spikes, and ran in a borrowed pair. And then ASICS have gone, well, you shouldn't have done that. You've broken your contract. You're no longer an ASICS athlete. Or some people are saying Fred Curley wasn't happy at ASICS, so he's done it on purpose to break a clause in the contract and get out of his contract.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So
and you don't think they'd severed ties before that story broke?
This is the thing. So no one actually knows what happened. So there's lots of hearsay, but no one actually knows exactly what happened.
Why would an Olympic brand drop a top runner days or weeks before the Olympics? That doesn't make sense to me. Even if there is a little bit of misconduct in shoe wearing. Let's be honest,
But if you're the highest paid ASICS athlete and you go and run a race wearing, I don't know, I think he wore Puma. But if you go and run a race wearing somebody else's shoes, you're not fulfilling your contract, and you've just basically
you've
told everybody you don't think the brand that you're sponsored by is the best shoe to run a race in.
That you could get yourself in a lot of legal hot water, I guess, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If you do that. So maybe that is true. But so what did he run in? He ran in the 100 or the 200? He ran in the 100.
He ran the 100, yeah.
Yeah.
And got the bronze.
Oh, he got the bronze.
Yeah.
In what shoes? In Puma shoes?
I don't know what he was wearing. I can't remember actually seeing. But that is pretty much all of the results from the athletics that I was going to talk about. Obviously, the 100 meters isn't really something we normally talk about, because we're more into our distance running. But I think it warranted a little bit of a chat, the 100 meters. But it does bring me on to something within our Olympic picks this week.
Okay.
So I'm going to
I was going to say we quickly said last week we're going to name 3 things interesting or good, bad, ugly that we wanted to mention. So have you got 3 things?
So the first thing I was going to mention was Noah Lyles' spikes. I don't know if you saw them, but he had some special spikes for the Olympics. And Grant Holloway, who's 110 meters hurdler, he also had the same spikes. And do you know because they're both Adidas athletes, and I don't know if you have seen, do you know the Prime X strung and how the upper is made of that strung material where it's like strings that are woven over the top of each other? So their spikes were strung spikes in a grey and black colorway, but they were Y3 ones as well. So they were the designer high-end Adidas brand, but strung spikes.
And so these are probably costing $1,000 plus.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. And they looked incredible. I bet
you want a pair of them, don't you?
Although I don't, because they're sprinter spikes and I'd never wear them. But they look great. They look great. They look really good.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah. Do you want to do one by one, or do you want to just reel off your 3?
Go one by one. I'm just going to quickly find a picture of them to show you. Hang on 2 seconds.
Well, while you're looking, I wanted to talk quickly about couples within the Olympics. 3 notable ones. One of them was proposed to and has since got slammed in the media. So one badminton Chinese female won the badminton, either mixed doubles or solo, I can't remember, singles. And she won the gold medal. And then her fiance came up to her whilst they were in front of that screen, in front of the friends and family, and proposed to her in front of that screen. And apparently has since, and she said yes, and it's very, very romantic. But since he has then been slammed online for stealing her thunder, her big moment, for making it all about him. So that's one thing. Another thing I was going to mention was a couple who are called, they're Italian, and they're called Gregorio Paltri. Let's just call him Gregorio. I can't read my own writing. He's a swimmer. His missus is called Rosella Fiammingo, and she's a fencer. She also does patios as well. And she won gold, and then within about she's just a lovely plum slate that she did on my drive the other day. It's really nice. And they're a couple, and within this Olympic Games have both individually won medals. She won a gold, he's won a silver and a bronze. But my favorite couple story, this is a bit morbid, not morbid, but it's a bit bad, are the Czech gold mixed doubles winners in tennis called Katerina Siniakova and Tomas Machak. They are a couple but have apparently broken up recently, but still competed together and won the gold.
Wow.
So who gets to keep the gold medal? That's what I want to know.
Well, hopefully they get one each.
They get one each, yeah. So imagine that. Imagine competing as a couple, breaking up, and then feeling obliged to just, still stay as a team. And they've won as well. So I hope them two can work it out. Yeah.
Yeah. They celebrated with a hug and then walked separate ways.
Punch you in the face and then run
off. I have just found as well on the Adidas Instagram. So check these out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they look. Oh God, they are sexy. For anyone that's listening to this, you need to see this. That's all I'll say. They do look really nice.
Yeah, they were great. But yeah, so my second one was Andy McDonald, who
skateboarder
skated for Team GB. He is 51 years old. But I didn't say this when I spoke about him last week. He is, well, he skates for Team GB, but he was born in America and he lives in America. But his dad is from Luton.
Right.
So that's how he managed to skate for GB, for Team GB. Because he has got British heritage. But he's one of the old guys of the sports, one of the pioneers who got it into popular culture back in the early 90s. So do you know Tony Hawk has got his own computer game?
Yep.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It's the biggest skateboarding game that everybody's heard of. There was, back in the early 2000s, a game called MTV Skateboarding. And that was Andy McDonald's game. So it was MTV Skateboarding with Andy McDonald. So he's a big name in skateboarding. But he set his sights on qualifying for the Olympics. That's what he wanted to do. Everybody said he was ridiculous. He wasn't going to do it. And he qualified for the Olympics. And he did some great runs. He didn't get through to the final, didn't qualify. I think he ended up coming about 17th in the heats. But he did. To be able to do what he did is crazy, because he's a vert skater mainly. But to be able to compete in the Olympics, there is no vert skating. It's like park skating, so it's more like a bowl. So the transitions are smaller. There's obstacles in the middle and stuff like this. So he's had to change the way that he skates from vert tricks and put them onto smaller transitions and be able to mix up how he does things. And he did it and managed to qualify. And he did some great runs. He did some great tricks. On his second run, he finished with a backflip out of the quarter pipe. It was wicked. So yeah, I just loved watching it.
It looks like a young man and a young woman's game.
Oh, it is big time. Yeah, all the rest of the competitors were either teenagers or early 20s. Yeah, and he comes out 51 and he's skating with the best of them. So
that's amazing.
It was ace. It was really good to see.
I hope he had a still got it moment at the end when he did his back. Yeah. But my second one I wanted to talk about was the winner of the 100 meters women, which was Julian Alfred.
Yes.
Now the significance of that is St. Lucia, as far as I know, have never ever won a medal in their entirety of competing for the Olympic Games, and they've just won a gold in one of the biggest events at the Olympics, the women's 100. So, and she also competed in the 200 meters women's final as well, I think.
Yeah.
And she might have got silver as well in that. Did she? Oh, I'll have to check that. But she definitely won the gold for the 100 meters. And I saw some of the scenes back home, and they were just, she's just going to be revered as a goddess now. I went to St. Lucia on a cruise. That place is one of the best places I've been to in my life. We were there for about 9 hours, and for about 7 of those hours I was smashed, and for the other 2 hours I was asleep, because we went on a rum trip and we just went on this boat on the sea and just got drunk, and they said, right, off you go then. Got back on the cruise and fell asleep, woke up at dinner time. Brilliant.
Amazing. Have you been on a cruise?
I have, but I don't like to talk about it. Similar to the Ultras. 2017 November Caribbean tour. Loves it.
Amazing. She ran such a great race in that 100 meters and beat the favorite. Everybody thought Sha'Carri Richardson was going to come through and win it, but no, she she did it. So
That's
yeah,
it.
amazing.
Gabby Thomas, I think, won the USA, won the 200, didn't she? Is that her name? Gabby Thomas?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
she looks really strong.
Because everyone was saying that Sha'Carri Richardson was going to win the 100 and the 200. She was going to try and do the same as Noah Lyles, but yet she came third in the 200. I think she came second in the 100 and third in the 200. So yeah, she didn't quite get either of them.
Where is the Jamaican? Is she retired or is she injured? Or I don't know. Is it Thompson Hera? Is that her name? Hera Thompson?
Oh,
sure.
Yeah,
is that her name? Something like that.
I know
isn't
you
it?
mean. Yeah, no, she didn't come out for the semi-finals because she was injured.
Ah, right. Yeah, because
it was going to be her 5th Olympics, and she didn't come out because she was injured.
Okay, that is a shame. Yeah. I'm sure her name's Thompson Hera, isn't
it? Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
Fraser-Price?
Yes, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
The one I was thinking of is that Thompson Hera, and she's won Olympic final 100 meters, 200 meters gold, Tokyo 100 meter gold, 200 meter gold, 4x100 gold. So that's the one I'm thinking of. She's called Elaine Thompson Hera. Jamaican sprinter.
I think she might have been injured as well.
Said she was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price is she was another sprinter, and it was going to be her 5th Olympics, and she's won gold in the past.
So, throws the game wide open, doesn't it? When a big favourite pulls up injured, and you must be thinking.
Yeah. So both of the Jamaican high hopes, had to pull out, which is a shame.
That is a shame.
But my third one is the men's javelin, which I think it was last night, possibly. And there was obviously the favourite was Neeraj Chopra, who is an Indian javelin thrower, and I'm pretty sure he is the most followed athlete on Instagram.
Wow.
In the world, because of how many people in India follow him, because he is like the Indian sports star.
Yeah,
he's a superstar in India. He was the favourite to win, and there was also in the final a guy called Arshad Nadeem, who is from Pakistan, and he when the last Olympics in Tokyo, he was Pakistan's first ever athlete to make an Olympic final.
Right.
And he ended up coming 5th in the final in Tokyo. But he was Pakistan's first ever athletics finalist. This year, he managed to beat Neeraj Chopra and get the gold medal by throwing a world record. Not world record, Olympic record distance of 92.97 meters, so almost 93 meters. Beat Neeraj Chopra by about 3 meters. And he has won Pakistan's first ever Olympic gold in athletics.
Wow.
Which is incredible. So that's not the only thing, because yes, that is incredible. But Neeraj Chopra from India then got second, got the silver, and Anderson Peters came in bronze medal position, and he's from Grenada, and that means it was the first ever time the podium for the Olympic javelin didn't feature a European. It was the first ever non-European podium in javelin. So 3 people from Pakistan, India, and Grenada came top 3 in the javelin, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, my third one is lowering the tone a little bit. Do you know the name Anthony Amirati? Is that how you say it? Anthony Amirati, French pole vault athlete. Do you know why do you know why he's been in the news this week?
Yes. Well, if you're gonna fail and let everybody know why you failed.
So he went viral this week because he didn't make it into the final, or he didn't make one of his required heights, because on one of his jumps on the pole vault, he dislodged the bar with a part of his body that
with
doesn't usually do that. With his manhood, yes. And he has since been approached by a few porn companies who apparently, quote unquote, would love to collaborate, they've said. So I don't know if he's insulted or he's thinking, oh, I could have another career here. Yeah. But I thought that was pretty funny. So Anthony Amirati, if you want to go and check out the video, not hopefully not an above board video. Yeah. But yeah, that did make me chuckle when I did hear when I did see that that video played back. Brilliant. But yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to talk about our running this week, are we?
I don't think we are. No. Just something else we do need to talk about quickly on the Olympics is obviously Noah Lyles came out and what's it called, ran the 200-meter final.
Yeah.
But he tested positive for COVID on Tuesday. Yeah. And he has been isolating, only going to the practice track to do a bit of practice and then going out to do the semi-final and the final. So to run the 200 final and get bronze when you've got COVID is pretty impressive. Yeah. But as you said, you've said in a message to me, it's a bit odd that he was hugging everyone after finishing the 200, knowing that he was positive for COVID.
Michael Johnson and the guys in the studio said it was a bit weird that he was all over Bednarek and you know, because they've all got the 4x100 coming up, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe it's everywhere. Maybe loads of athletes have had it.
Yeah. So I'm sure there was somebody who won gold, and the next day they tested positive for COVID. I can't remember what sport that was in. But like the gold medal winner, the next day tested positive for COVID. Yeah, so obviously had pushed through.
Well, I know Adam Peaty, the swimmer, won silver.
Oh, that was
he won silver.
Wasn't that? Oh, that was him. Yeah,
but he didn't know he had COVID.
Yeah, obviously, tested positive the next day, didn't he?
Obviously, Noah Lyles knew he had it and still chose to race anyway. Yeah, so which is a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah,
but I know I am conscious that we're running out of time, but I wanted to just really quickly show you these things.
Yes,
I've been highly, what's the word, inspired and influenced by the Olympics, because everyone either seems to be wearing Puma or Adidas kicks, and so I've gone for 2 new pairs of shoes, and this one is my first one, which is the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. Now, this is a shoe that I've had the second iteration of for my Amsterdam training block. So I haven't worn Puma for 18 months, which I'm excited about wearing.
Yeah. So will they be a training shoe for the marathon for what sort of paces?
I've only worn them around the house, so I don't really know quite how they'll feel at other speeds apart from easy and walking around the kitchen pace. But I imagine they're going to be probably no higher than marathon pace speed. Cool. But maybe if you've got any Puma dailies, you can let me know what you're using for. Of course, 2 pairs of shoes, so 2 pairs of mile socks.
Let me see where you bought those from then.
Have a guess. Have a guess. So 2 pairs of socks, and the other one in this dark black Adidas box, it is a pair of Takumi Sen 10.
Can I do a snap? Snap.
Oh yes. Do you want to snap? Oh, you've just seen mine. I've just put mine. There they are. They do look sexy, don't they? They do look really, really amazing. Nice. But I'm just really quickly going to jump on Instagram, because I did actually put a thing on the Instagram account and asked if anyone could guess what's in the box, Brad Pitt style. And we did have a couple of correct guesses. So we had someone said Nick Points was so close. He said Deviate Nitro 3 and Takumi Sen's. And he said surely the second one anyway, which I think he means the Adidas box, which is kind of right. Stuart McKillop says Puma Nitro Takumi Sen 10. I'll give you that, even though you didn't say Nitro 3. And who else have we got? I think it was Kieran Turner, Velocity Nitro 3 and Sen 9.
Whoa.
So close.
Yeah.
So close. But lots of people were guessing Adios Pro 3s. Let's have a look. Yeah, most people were saying the same sort of thing, really. Deviate Nitro 3, Puma. Yeah, Freddie Run says, I've just got a pair of Adios Pro 3 delivered in his box. It looked exactly like that. Unfortunately, you're wrong, Freddie. It's the Takumi Sen 10s. Yeah. So, I'm going to be using them for 5Ks, 10Ks, and half marathon races.
So will they be getting a outing tomorrow morning?
No, I'm doing Parkrun tomorrow, but I'm going to be wearing the old Takumi Sen 8s for that. Just because I want to feel the benefit of them for a few more track sessions time. I don't want to peak them too soon. Yeah. So I think when I do my race around Worcester, my 5K, I might wear them then, or I might wear them for the Worcester half marathon. I'm not quite sure, but they're not coming out of the box for a few weeks yet. Well, at least a few days.
Nice. I'm gonna wait for my Takumi 10s to until I try and go for that 5K PB, but it's going to be a while because I'm thinking next week I'm going to take a bit of a rest week because my glutes got to the point where I just can't push through it anymore. It's getting it's gonna need some rest. So I'm gonna get this weekend out of the way, get me Sunday long run done, and then have a week where I don't really do much, see if I can actually get on top of it this time.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm sure a week of rest is what your body needs by the sounds of things.
Probably, but I don't want to. I know I'll be climbing the walls all week, but sometimes you have to do these things, don't we? But just to finish off, because we've done it, Andy. We've broke 2 hours for the first time.
The marathon. We haven't even talked about the marathon. That's going to be done before this.
I know.
If anyone's going to be watching the Olympic marathon, hopefully Kipchoge does the business.
Yes. Well, I can't wait to watch. Kipchoge against Kenenisa Bekele. That is the race. Obviously,
it looks like not a slow course, but it looks like a tough course, doesn't it?
It's going to be a challenging course. Yeah, there's two big climbs. Yeah. But we got robbed of Kipchoge versus Kiptum, unfortunately. But Bekele versus Kipchoge is going to be a great run.
Yeah, I wonder if Bekele might, because Kipchoge this season hasn't been on great form, has he?
No, but then in Tokyo, when he wasn't on form at all, he was getting a lot of death threats and threats against his family's life. So that's going to affect your performance. So hopefully he's in a much better place and he can perform fully at the Olympics.
Because Bekele ran, was it 23 miles in second place, or was he in the lead in London?
He was with, like, there was two of them with about half a mile to go until the bloke who won it kicked on and won it. But he came second at London. So he's in good form. So fingers crossed it's going to be a great race. But I am very much looking forward to seeing where the GB athletes come as well. And hopefully we can get hopefully one at least in the top 10. Hopefully Emil Caress can do that. But Phil Sessamon and Mohammed, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do in an Olympics. But to finish off this week, as always, we just need to go through the Strava segment. We'll forget things that we've seen this week and we'll just go straight onto the leaderboard because we are taking up far too much time. But last week's leaders. So in first place, we have Steve Turner, who ran a total of 74.8 mile, which is a great amount of mileage for a week. So well done, Steve. Second was Mike Rodders, with 72.2 miles. And in third was Jack Bancroft with 66.1 miles. So some great running there. And then with our elevation climbing, in first is Mike Roderick with 5,410 foot of climbing, which is some fair old elevation over a week. Second is Tommy D with 4,242 foot. And in third is Kevin Hutchins with 3,927 foot. So great running by all.
Swansea's banned next week, lads. Tommy D and Mike. You can't run around Swansea.
We're going to stop doing the elevation climbing because it's just going to be them every week. Yeah.
Let someone else play.
but no, amazing work, guys. Steve, great running with that distance. Really good work.
Well done, lads. Yeah, well done.
But yeah, so we won't talk about our running this week. We shall leave it there. Just let's just say we had some good sessions. You had your track session again, and did some good work. You did one extra rep without knowing it.
Yeah, lost count of how many reps I'd done, and I was coming through to the finish, and Max said, "Do you fancy one more?" And I was like, "Well, I think I've done 10." And he's like, what's one more? One more for the road. So we did one last one, and we were doing 600s, which were 400. That's what I was going to ask you at the start. It was 400 lap, and then it was straight into a faster 200.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 400 zone 4, 10K pace, and a 500 hard. Would you have lapped your watch for the 200? Because I chose not to.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I just kept...
If it's part of the rep and you're just like working down paces, then probably wouldn't have.
Yeah. And then it was 60.
It's a 600 rep, isn't it? It's not a 200 rep. It's a 600 rep with a faster finish. Just to get that feel of kicking at the end.
Yeah. So that was nice. That was a decent. I chose to do. You'll be very disappointed in me. I did jogging recoveries to jog to the start line for the first 3 reps. Then after that, I was like, I'm cooked. I just can't keep doing this. So I was just doing standing and turning round recoveries, 30-second walk behind me and then turn round. But managed to get through it. And your calves hurt the day after, don't they? Bloody hell.
Yep. I've done 2 track sessions this week. I probably shouldn't have. I've pushed through pain, but I really shouldn't be doing. Yesterday's session, I went to start the session, and on the first rep, I crossed the start line, was about to press my watch on the start line, and I just went, oh, and pulled up and had to stop and have a little bit of a walk and a bit of a massage of the glute, and then try again to start the session. So that's one of the reasons I need to take a bit of a rest, because I'm pushing through pain, which I really shouldn't. I'm hitting all right paces, but I'm not hitting the paces I'd want to in those sessions. And I just need to. I don't think I'm going to lose too much fitness over a week. So I'll give it a week and see what happens. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that concludes this epic podcast. We are now on nearly 2.25 hours with a loo stop.
With a loo break.
But so thank you so much for listening or watching. If you are still with us now, you are one of the real ones. Sorry for chewing your ears off for 2.25 hours. But thank you so much. We really do appreciate the support. And we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.
See you guys. Take it easy.